A very warm welcome to everyone who is joining with us today for the guest lecture webinar of ReXtro 2025, the Silver Jubilee Tech Showcase organized by the Faculty of Engineering, University of Tehran. So we are living through a time where the digital world has become inseparable from our daily lives. Every message we send, every system we build, every innovation we create, all of it flows through invisible networks that power our modern society. But with progress, there comes a challenge. As technology grows smarter, so do the threats that seek to exploit it. In a world shaped by AI-driven breakthroughs, we stand at a crossroad where cybersecurity is no longer optional, but it is essential. We need intelligence that can defend itself, systems that learn, adapt, and evolve, and digital guardians that understand risks faster than attackers can act. So today's session, Cybersecurity Frontiers in the Era of Modern AI, invites us into this new frontier where both opportunity and vulnerability coexist. A frontier where AI becomes not just a tool, but a shield and sometimes a threat. So this webinar reminds us that engineering is not only about building, but also is about securing, protecting, and future-proofing the digital ecosystems that sustain our world. I'm Tillu Danage, an undergraduate from the Faculty of Engineering, University of Tehran, and it is my pleasure to guide you through this exciting session. Let us begin our journey into a future where intelligence meets security and the digital world grows stronger, safer, and smarter. Every great event begins with a purpose, with words that bring us together, ignite curiosity, and prepare us to explore the possibilities ahead. Today, as we step into the world of cybersecurity frontiers in the era of modern AI, we celebrate innovation, resilience, and the powerful intersection of intelligence and security. This webinar is more than a discussion. It is a step toward understanding the systems that protect our digital future and the technologies that shape the next era of engineering. So to officially open today's inspiring session, it is my honor to invite Professor Chaminda Hewage, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, University of Tehran, to deliver the welcome speech and formally commence today's webinar. Sorry, sir, you are not audible enough.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir, of course.
Okay, right. So, very good evening to everyone. And I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Chaminda Hewage, one of our proud products from the first batch, addressing us in this very occasion. And as a faculty in national education system delivering proud engineers to the nation, we are so delighted to have this milestone celebrating our Silver Jubilee. And truly, we are gifted today to broadly introduce one of our own products. It is none other than Dr. Chaminda Hewage, who is an expert in the field of cybersecurity. And I'm very happy to tell he owns the gold medal in the first batch in electrical and information engineering with a first class pass from our faculty. And after obtaining his postgraduate doctoral qualification from University of Surrey, UK, he got many other postgraduate experiences, and now he's working as a reader, or in our terms, associate professor in Cardiff School of Technology, Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK. And in addition to that, his activities extend to being a program director for computer security at Cardiff Metropolitan University. So his extensive publications and research grants and many other high-level involvement in the field is more than eligible for us to pick his expertise to address and enlighten the technical gathering today. So, Dr. Chaminda Hewage, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And I'm hopeful your value addition, your expertise input will be very much useful for the audience today. Over to you, our team.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your warm and inspiring welcome. Your words remind us that our vision, dedication, and leadership that continue to guide the Faculty of Engineering toward innovation and excellence. Every technological revolution is guided by individuals who see beyond just the present, thinkers who explore the unseen layers of the digital world and transform challenges into innovation. So it is now my pleasure to officially welcome Dr. Chaminda Hewage, a proud alumnus of the University of Ruhuna, who began his remarkable journey right here at our Faculty of Engineering. Today, he serves as a reader or associate professor and program director for computer security at Cardiff School of Technologies, Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK. And he returns to share his expertise in cybersecurity and AI-driven systems. We are truly honored to have one of our own to inspire with us to this session, and over to you. Dr. Chaminda.
Can you hear me? Tell me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear.
I think my camera is disabled from your side.
Oh, so sorry, we'll use that. So is it okay now? Oh, yeah. We can see this. And also we can see the screen as well.
Yeah, you can see the first slide. Tell me. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chaminda Hewage from Cardiff Metropolitan University. First of all, thank you very much for the organizing committee for inviting me to deliver this presentation, research seminar. And indeed, I'm delighted to deliver this seminar as Professor Karna Sena mentioned that as a graduate from University of Ruhuna. And thanks, Professor, for the kind introduction as well. So the topic will be cybersecurity frontiers in the era of modern AI. So here I'm going to discuss what are the latest trends in cybersecurity, what are the latest research and development, and how the society is changing with the AI, and what are the security and privacy or data protection threats. Added to how that affects the individuals and human and even the society, economy, and the political landscape of any country as well. I'll tell a little bit about me. I think, of course, both Tilmi and Professor mentioned a bit about me. So I'm proud to be a University of Ruhuna Ruhuna Engineering faculty graduate. After my graduation, I joined Sri Lanka Telecom, and then I joined University of Ruhuna, University of Surrey in 2005 to do my PhD. At the same time, I worked for the university as a research assistant for European Union funded projects. So while I'm doing my PhD, I start working for large consortium research and development projects at the same time. After graduation, I worked as a research fellow at the University of Surrey, as well as Kingston University London as a senior researcher, again working for a couple of European Union funded research and development projects on wireless communication, optimizing wireless communication for healthcare applications and so on. So since 2015, I am with Cardiff Metropolitan University. I joined as a senior lecturer in data security. Now I'm working there as an associate professor. And during this time, I developed the whole cybersecurity curriculum at Cardiff Metropolitan University, as well as I'm the founding director for Cybersecurity and Information Network Center at Cardiff Metropolitan University. So where we research security, emerging security technologies, data protection approaches, human factors in cybersecurity, as well as quality of experience for different multimedia applications. In this group, we have about 10 academics, senior academics, about 10 to 15 PhD students, and a large number of undergraduate and postgraduate students who are working as interns, research assistants. Most of the projects are funded by external funding agencies, so they work on these research. So in my talk, I will talk about the latest trends, as well as at the same time, I will add the research work taking place in my center as well, so that you can see what are the R&D work that we are doing in that space as well. And I have another role since 2023. I'm the Associate Dean Research for Cardiff School of Technologies. So in that role, I am leading the research and innovation activities of the whole school. So the main cross-cutting themes are data science, AI, security, software, hardware, and sustainability. So all our R&I activities are divided into 5 large research centers: creative computing, Industry 4.0 and blockchain, cybersecurity, where I'm a member, and research in intelligent sensors and systems, where our engineering research center is, and Eureka Robotics Center, which is home for more than 100 humanoid robots. They work on different service industries like hospitality, healthcare, and so on. And we also have 2 research groups working on net zero and sustainability, as well as bioengineering as well. So our school is home for about more than 50 academics, as well as around 40 plus PhD students, and about 1,600 postgraduate and undergraduate students as well. So that's a bit about me. So in this talk, I will talk about what is happening out there and how they are impacting, how they are adding additional cybersecurity threats, adversaries, how they are invading privacy of individuals, and what are the defensive or protection mechanisms against those. And I will touch a little bit more on Gen AI technologies, generative AI, and what is happening at the moment, and whether is it going out of control? Do we need a bit of regulation of AI, and the implications for the cyber security as well? And then I will do, towards the end, I will do a question and answer session. I'm happy to take a couple of questions, but of course, I'm happy to answer or discuss offline as well. And I will take about, in terms of time, I will take about 45 to 1 hour time to discuss, and then we'll go for the Q&A. Yeah, so the cyber attacks and data breaches. I'm not sure whether you would be able to see this link. I think this is a visualization produced by Checkpoint. I think these attacks are captured by Checkpoint firewalls across the world. So you can see live attacks taking place across the world. I think the top targeted countries, Ethiopia, Nepal, and these are good visualizations to show that what industries are being targeted, what kind of attacks, whether it is adware, phishing, and so on. So you can see even as we speak now, there are attacks taking place across the world. And these are just attacks captured by checkpoint firewalls. But what happened to the new attacks, which those firewalls don't have any signature, so they can't capture them. So there may be additional things as well. And I will touch upon a few key attacks took place over the last 10 years. I think in 2017, some of you may know WannaCry ransomware attack crippled the NHS National Health Service in UK. I think many operations were postponed and so many appointments were cancelled. So they encrypted the healthcare systems, healthcare records, and they asked for ransom as Bitcoin money. And there's a bit of a background story as well. I think the English journalist found out that there's a kill switch for this ransomware. So whenever before it start infecting the another computer, it checks a domain name. So then they hosted that domain, and then it stopped spreading this ransomware as well. So this is where the cyber attacks come into play a key role in our day-to-day activities, which can even impact our health, the healthcare we receive as well. And again, in 2019, there was a big attack, supply chain attack called SolarWinds supply chain attack. In that, there was a malicious code was inserted into the SolarWinds DLL, dynamic link library, and it was deployed in many other software applications across the world. I think mostly the federal government systems were affected in USA. So this was one of the key talk points. So whenever we are buying hardware or software, we need to make sure that they follow security. They take security seriously in order to make sure that they won't affect your business or your systems. And this is a German hospital ransomware attack. Again, it is it is the first death related to ransomware attack. So they wanted to attack the university, but by mistake, the hackers attacked the nearby hospital. So their systems went down, and they had to transfer a patient to a nearby hospital. During that transfer, that patient died. So this is attributed to the first death related to a ransomware attack. So you can see that cyber hackers or adversaries, they are not just after your money, but that as a byproduct that may affect your the health and the way you operate in the real world. And increasingly over the COVID time, there were many cyber physical systems attacks because many of us started working from online. So they started to control critical national infrastructures from home. So you're connecting through your home Wi-Fi network to control a critical system, which is affecting thousands of population. So there was an attack in water treatment plant in Florida. So someone tried to remotely get access and change the, I think, sodium hydroxide level of the water, which uses to control the pH level of the treatment plant. But somehow one of the operator noticed that that level has been increased significantly, and he managed to take it down. But otherwise, it would have been a disastrous situation as well. And a similar attack happened in USA East Coast Colonial Pipeline attack. Again, they wanted to attack a particular system, but because as a byproduct, that whole pipeline running from Texas to New Jersey was affected, and there were no fuel for that part of USA for about 1 or 2 weeks during that attack as well. So you can see now, cyber attacks, they are not just stealing money, but they can impact your daily life, your health, and so on. And this was reported in 2023. about 10 millions of British voter records were stolen from electoral commission. I think these kind of attacks could be more common in the future for Sri Lanka as well, because there's a big drive for going digital online payment. It should be the case, but there should be enough safeguards in place, controls in place to make sure these things won't happen when you are deploying such systems. And again in 2024, there was again attack for NHS, and again there were about they postponed so many procedures and they canceled so many appointments because of the hospital system was down for a couple of days. And early this year, 2025, there were a couple of attacks to supermarket chains. I think the major one was Mark and Spencer. There was a ransom attack. Again, it came through IT contractor. And their online sales were stopped and no click and collect. And they expect their budget to be hit by about 300 million because of this particular attack as well. And they reported a similar attack for Coop supermarket. It's a cooperative supermarket in UK. And when you go to get milk in the morning, and then there was a notice saying that due to a cyber attack, there's no milk. So shelves were running out, no supplies were coming because that link was broken because of the some systems were taken down by the attackers. So this is how, as I said, I think you can see that the cyber attacks can affect your daily lives as well. And I checked the CERT report for Sri Lanka. I think they have published strategies, a national cybersecurity strategy for 2025, 2029. Computer emergency readiness team. They also reported many attacks, cyber incidents, 4,000. This is for 2024, 4,000 cyber incidents, social media incidents, 17,000, hacked accounts, 7,000. So likewise, there were so many attacks were reported. This is in Sri Lanka in 2024. And there may be attacks that go unnoticed as well. And some may be still using your accounts as well, but these are just reported attacks. And just to give a background, how many businesses are affected. So UK is carrying out a cybersecurity breaches survey every year, and they selected a sample that equates to 600,000 businesses, 60,000 charities, and about more than 2,000 educational institutes. So as you can see, there are about 43% of the businesses have reported some kind of cybersecurity breach or attack over the last 12 months. This is from the 2025 report. So you can see a comparison between 2024, 2025 as well. In 2024, it was a bit high. It was 50% for the overall businesses, but this year it was 43%. As you can see, for the large businesses, they have 74% businesses reported a cyber breach or attack, because hackers tend to go for a large profit, so they wanted to attack large organizations where they can get a bit more money. And it is same for the charities. I mean, some of you may be wondering why hackers want to attack charities. They don't have money. No, they do have good money. That's how they do charitable work, and they have a good payroll. For example, charities like Oxfam, which has some operations in Sri Lanka as well. So they have big annual budget. So the hackers are trying to see whether they can get some kind of access to those budget as well. So about 30% of the charities reported the cybersecurity incident over the last 12 months. Again, the significance changes how big the charity is. And it is same for the schools as well. And again, you would be thinking why someone wants to attack a primary school or a secondary school. It may be for data, personal data, or they may have some monetary gains as well. and it is high in, as you can see, for the further education and higher education institute. Higher education means universities. You can see 90% reported they had a attack or attempt to get some data from their universities. And there were instances in UK that we teach ethical hacking and other cybersecurity concept in the universities, and we do have a red network and a dirty network and a corporate network. So sometimes the students tend to go to the corporate network through the dirty network, so they can run some ethical hacking tools and so on, and there were incidents reported in that space as well. So you can see hackers also do attack educational institutes as well. And if you look at the type of attacks, I think here you can see on the right-hand side for 2025. So most of the attacks are phishing attacks, and some are impersonating in emails online, and some are malware, ransomware, and so on. But if you look at the top two, I think most of them are social engineering type attacks and phishing attacks. Nowadays with chat GPT kind of technology, you can create a very convincing email and send them and let them click on a link that will go to a malicious site and so on. But it's still ransomware and other malware attacks remain less compare. So that's why I think you may have the state of the art firewalls in your organization, but if you don't have a good cyber hygiene or cyber awareness within your company, you may be still subjected to cyber attacks. Sometimes when you walk into companies, you can see username and passwords on sticky notes on the monitor of the computer, so anyone can get it. And some are connecting to very critical systems from their home, and their kids have access to, and all those who are living in home also have access as well. So these are the reasons why phishing attacks and other impersonating are much common. And of course, there's a cost for any disruption. So when there's an attack, of course, you have to take down the services and find the problem and remedial actions. And there will be a reputation damage. There will be fines for the regulators for violating. If the data breach involves personal information, there will be fines as well. So on average, I think there's a £1,600 cost for each business last year. But if your business is larger or medium business, that amount will go up. But if it is an attack with an outcome, so the hackers manage to get away with something, the cost will be much higher, because it is 12,560 for the large businesses, but on average it is 8,000 pounds per business. But this is average across many businesses. But if you take a larger business, that amount may go up to millions as well. And other thing is there should be a board level representation for cybersecurity, information security, which is important, because you may remember in early days we had a CTO, Chief Technology Officer, and when the data become important, they introduce Chief Information Officer, CIO. And when the security has become a major theme, they introduce CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. So likewise, there should be some kind of a board level representation who can represent cybersecurity, so they can take decisions. For example, if you are an engineer or a technical officer, you come up with a suggestion that if you buy this firewall, we can reduce the risk to 10%. And then there should be someone at the board level to justify that decision and support or back you up, so that CEO will spend the money on that firewall. So that's why having board level representation is important. So you can see that over the last few years that the board level representation has remained same, but you can see a bit more high percentage during the COVID time, 2009 to 2020-21, where we all went online. And so there were more representation at board level. So you can see it is remaining at 30%, which is a good representation because most of the decisions are coming from top down. So having a board level representation for cybersecurity, it would be a good idea, since it can be filtered down to the different layers of the organization. And again, the awareness and guidance from the government side. I'm sure in Sri Lanka as well, there are guidelines from the government or set for every business, regardless whether they have online presence or not. I think in UK there are many schemes, Cyber Essentials scheme, which is just to see whether there's a firewall, whether there's a right configuration for the software and so on. And they will give you that certification, self-certification indeed, and there's a Cyber Essentials Plus. So there will be a pen testing to check check whether you have the right protection in place. So this is like a mini version of ISO 27001. As you may know, information security standard, management standard for securing information. So there are different schemes in the government, cyber aware campaign, the 10 steps to cybersecurity. So across the years, I think many organizations are following those standards. So that's a good indication that they take government advice seriously, as well as, for example, if you are bidding for, if you want to supply equipment or services to hospitals or government or the military, they need to have these certifications. Otherwise, you can't even bid for those tenders. So some are tend to go because of the compliance, but of course, they help you to reduce cyber risk for your organization. And they also have many activities. I think this is where most of the engineers work, security engineers. So they have risk assessment. I think if you look at the survey sample, about 20.9% companies said they have a risk assessment covering cyber risk, security risk, and 30% said that they have some kind of a tools for monitoring, maybe SOCs, security operation centers, and so on. And some are doing vulnerability audits, and some are doing, about 12% of businesses are doing pen testing to make sure that no one can't get into the systems from outside, and some are investing on threat intelligence as well. So these are the ways that the companies are investing money to reduce cyber risk. And as I mentioned, the supplier risk is very high at the moment, because we tend to get outsource so many things, and when we are developing systems, we buy components and systems from different vendors, and we need to make sure that they supply their products are security. I mean, in terms of security, they are sounds and they are audited. So most of the companies nowadays, they carry out supply audit. At least they will check whether they have ISO 27001, so that we know that their systems and services will follow best practice guidelines when it comes to information security. So across the years, most of the businesses, about 45% out of larger businesses, they audit immediate suppliers, and about 25% of them, they audit the larger supply chain as well. This is to make sure that you are not compromising your data or your confidential business data by acquiring things from outside. So you need to make sure those suppliers are doing the right thing. And it is same for, let's say you want to select a cloud service provider, AWS or Azure or something else. You need to make sure that those service providers have these certifications, ISO 27001 or any other certification, so that you can hand over your data to them without much doubt, because you know that they are following the best practice guidelines. And it is same. I think this is just an indication that when you are purchasing software, how many of them are taking cybersecurity seriously. So most of the businesses, about 20% them, 21% of them take larger to a large extent they consider cybersecurity risk, and about 19% of the businesses to some extent, and 37% not a major concern, but you purchase from established companies. So just because they are an established company, let's say you are buying from Google or Microsoft, that doesn't mean that they may have the best security in place or data protection practices in place, because even Microsoft and Google, they buy small companies. We don't know whether that small company had a good security pipeline, or there are no vulnerabilities built into their modules, APIs, and so on. So it is always good to consider security when you are purchasing software or even hardware nowadays. So this is an indication. And now I'll talk a little bit about training awareness when it comes to cybersecurity, why it is important. And as university lecturers as well as students, I think this is where you can contribute more. So when it comes to information, there are three qualities that you are looking for. Confidentiality, you want to make sure it is with the right people, no one else has access, and it is the original information, no one has tampered with. That is the integrity. And the availability, when you want to access that data, you should have access at all times. So these are the features of information. And if you take a particular piece of information, it can be at any given time. It can be at a endpoint. It can be stored, or it can be processed, or it can be it is being transmitted, or it is at a storage, and so on. So these are the processing or the storage options for any data. So during this processing, you need to secure this data. So how you are going to secure your information when they are stored in the hard disk or STD? How you are going to maintain the integrity? How you are going to maintain the availability? So what you need, these are the controls for cybersecurity. I think this is called cybersecurity. All cybersecurity students will know this. So you need awareness, training, and education. It doesn't matter how much technology you have, but you should keep good cyber hygiene within your organization. And because if you give your password to your friend, I think it doesn't matter what kind of technology you have, so that person have access to your data. So that is why awareness, training, and education is important. And technology is just one part of it. And then there comes policy, procedures, and compliance. So policies and procedures can be for your organization, but the compliance, there can be regulations, for example, data protection laws and financial laws and other laws affecting your processing as well. So this cyber cube in a way represent what is important, what they are doing at a given time, what are the different states, and what are the security measures you can do. So one of the key thing is awareness and training. And this is like a sample from this year, 2025. So overall, there are 19% businesses are doing training and awareness sessions. And when it comes to large businesses, it is 76%, because they are at high risk, so they do this more often. And it is same for the charities as well. And we also work in this space, giving the up-to-date knowledge on cybersecurity, how to protect, and so on. So we are part of national cybersecurity initiative called Cyber First. So we are ambassadors, both lecturers and students. So we go to schools and further education colleges. They are like technical colleges in Sri Lanka. So we go to them and we teach them. We run workshops about different types of attacks, how to protect against them, what are the best way to use online, social media, and so on. So this is very important, because since we are moving towards more digital space, so it is important for everyone to get on board and start the journey from the very beginning at the school level. And we also ran many workshops for different communities, again funded by the UK government, and we received last year about £1 million research and development money to work with different communities to upskill them on new digital technologies. So we talk about cybersecurity, AI, robotics, and 3D printing, and so on. So this is our team, and some of them are my colleagues, and most of them are our PhD students. So they do this as a part-time work, and we go to community, we host events, we go to schools, and to make sure that they are at the edge of the technology development as well. And we ran STEM workshops, after school clubs, AI, cyber, and STEM competitions like Lego competitions. And these are some Lego workshops we ran in those schools as well. And we also run some awareness sessions. For example, this one on IoT. This one we are asking businesses whether they need any support to strengthen their online security. So we provide the guidance and so on, as well as we offer them micro credential courses on cybersecurity, so which are very short courses like CPD, but this may be available in Sri Lanka as well, so they can accumulate these credits and get a degree at the end as well if they want. So these courses, security micro credential courses are credit bearing, so they can do many courses like this and accumulate enough credits to get a degree as well. And we also run cybersecurity awareness sessions with the community. So this is where we went to a deprived area in Wales, along the valleys, and we discuss about the new technologies and what they want from technologies and what kind of solutions they want technologies. And so it is a very good discussions, and to understand what they really want, what are their challenges at the moment with the technologies, and whether they aware the threats from cybersecurity attacks, whether they are aware that when they are sharing data on social media, whether they aware any threats or concerns for their data privacy, and so on. I think this is something University, the Faculty of Engineering, Ruhuna should be doing as well. I know that some of your students going to schools in rural areas and conduct workshops. But similarly, I think you can do for the latest technology as well to make sure that they have the right knowledge and exposure to the new technology as well. And we also do these similar awareness programs across different countries. We had a project with Saudi, and it is again to empower women into cybersecurity and STEM. And those are funded by the British Council, and we ran hackathons, capture the flag events between the two universities as well. And we had a project with Pakistan, Cyber, again to uplift the girls and women in cybersecurity. And these are all funded projects. And similarly, we have many other projects in terms of partnership projects. We work with other countries, other universities in other countries as well. And we also did a couple of awareness programs. I think this was organized by National Science Foundation in Sri Lanka. So it's about knowledge transfer for some government institutes, and we delivered this session about what is important, how to protect important government data, and so on. So this is very much important in order to increase the awareness. So as I said, the cyber Q technology alone won't be able to solve today's attack. So you need a more overall comprehensive approach to tackle the today's attacks. And there are ways, I think, like health and safety training. I think this may be familiar to those who are working. So whenever there's a health and safety training, so we are not that much interested to do. But cybersecurity awareness training are similar, You are not tend to complete it. You are just doing it just to complete the tick box. But we are looking at ways to improve the effectiveness of those trainings. So we are currently preparing to apply for a funding, how we can use collective intelligence, collective intelligence to improve the effectiveness and the uptake of cybersecurity trainings in an organization. So we are trying to evaluate something like their cognitive load, emotional state, their calendar availability, whether he's busy during that week, and all the task complexity. So what kind of tasks they are currently engaged with. So to make a decision as the company. So rather than sending a awareness training invitation to everyone on a given time, we evaluate everyone's availability, their cognitive load and everything, and then find a suitable time to nudge them about awareness training, because which is very important. So we want to increase the uptake as well as the improve the quality of the delivery. We want to make sure that that message is passed to them about the upcoming attacks. And another thing is happening, this may be known to you, insurance, cyber insurance, which is very common at the moment. So many companies are buying cyber insurance because if the risks are high, so they won't be able to handle themselves the expenses. So they tend to buy insurance. So most of the time, the cyber is covered by a as part of the wide insurance policy most of the time, but most of the companies now tend to go for specific cyber insurance policies as well to recover from any potential cyber attacks. This is again another study from IBM, data breach research. I think they are doing data breach research for about 20 years now. They calculate the average cost for a data breach. I think they surveyed about 600 organizations impacted by data breaches and across 16 countries and 70 different industries. So you can see that in 2025, it has come down to 4.44 million, slightly lower than 2024. What they discuss in the report is that due to the use of AI and automation, I think this figure is coming down for the organizations. And if you look at the sectors, I think it is same. I think if you are operating in the healthcare sector, because they are looking after the hackers may tend to go for more healthcare records and so on, and their regulatory fines are very high as well. For example, you may know HIPAA regulation in America. So if you breach personal health data, there's a huge fines for it. So that's why the cost is much higher than if you are working in public or consumer section. The number of days to identify and contain the attack, again coming down over the years. But if you look at 2025, it is 241 days. Again, they attribute this to the use of AI and machine learning and new tools when tackling cybersecurity content. And they also break down the cost across the years. I think the majority cost is for the lost business cost. When your server is down, you are losing so much of business. So that is the majority of the cost. And detection and escalation will cost the businesses as well, post-breach response and the notification. So there are so many. And apart from that, of course, there will be a reputation damage. When it goes to the newspaper that there's a cyber attack for this company X, I think their shares will go down and the reputation will go down. So there are some, apart from monetary implication, there are some other drawbacks as well. Again, there were 32% of those companies reported there were regulatory fines. You can see some of them, about 23% paid more than $250,000 as fines because of these attacks. Because if you're having personal data, personal information, identifiable information, and if you lose them during an attack, that means you haven't followed the right procedures to protect. So there will be fines from the regulator. So it can be GDPR fines. I'm sure all of you know GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, which is a EU data protection regulation, which affects all the EU citizens' personal data. So if you compromise, or if you breach any data related to a EU citizen, I think you are liable for a fine. I think it is either 20 million euros or 4% of your annual turnover across the globe, or whichever the highest. So I think there's a GDPR enforcement tracker. I'm not going to go to the link, but you can see at one time the Meta, the Facebook was fined $1 billion, €1 billion by the Ireland Information Commissioner's Office, and there were about 20 million fines to British Airways because of a data breach, and there was about again around 20 million fines to Marriott Hotel chain in UK as well. So you can see how much fines they have paid because they fail in protecting people's data. And this is becoming a bigger problem as well, because if you are a small company, you can't pay a huge fine, your company can go down as well. And increasingly, there are data breaches involving AI at the moment. I think most of the reported AI-related breaches have come from supply chain, 30% of them. Model invasion attacks, you are trying to get sensitive information out of the model. Model evasion, you are trying to evade the model. As you can see on the top right, you can give wrong messages as input and then it will be misclassified. And prompt injection as well. So you are trying to get something out of the, let's say, ChatGPT by giving unexpected prompts so that it will reveal unregulated outcomes as well, or data poisoning. You can poison the whole model by poisoning the data. And these kind of attacks have caused so much disruption as well. And again, there's threat from shadow AI. I think some of you may know shadow AI. These are the unapproved or unsanctioned external AI tools, which you use without company approval or your IT team's approval. For example, I think we have learned to live with ChatGPT now. So that can be a shadow AI, or you may be using small tools to scan CVs, for example. So you're using some kind of AI tool to do certain things which are not regulated. So that can add additional vulnerabilities into your data, and that can compromise your data. So your privacy can be affected. So in case of data breach, or there can be biases. We don't know how these tools are trained, and there's no transparency, and most probably they can produce inaccurate data. Some of you may heard the recent speech by Google CEO. He says, don't trust AI tools 100%. Always fact check with the search engines and other sources. So even someone who invented, Gemini 3 says that don't trust AI. That means it is not developed up to that level, isn't it? Even 99% may be not good enough for finance sector or health sector. So they always, even the developers, the designers, they want us to fact check with the AI outcome to make sure that it is right. And it is same for the shadow AI can lead you to regulation or compliance fines as well. And they added additional cost for your data breaches. And in comparison to normal data breaches, I think when the shadow AI is involved, so they lose more customer data, more employee data, intellectual property, and so on. Because some people tend to submit documents and sensitive information to these tools, for example, ChatGPT, because what they forget is they store a copy of this data and they use it for further training as well later on. So that can lead it to leaking your personal information to some unwanted parties and so on. So you should know how they operate and your boundaries and what you need to upload to such tools and what you shouldn't be doing in order to improve the security. And most of the companies have some kind of governance framework for AI tools. So before they use that AI tool, they will make sure that it goes to a certain check-in, validation before it is used in the business. And so most of the companies, 50% of them, they use internal risk assessment. Some are using 34% of them are also using third-party security audits to check the AI tools, and some are using automated AI and risk assessment tools as well. So there's a bit of AI governance it's taking place because they don't believe AI tools outright. They do their own checks before they accept into their business. So that's more about the current status. So I will jump into a bit more about generative AI technologies. I think you can see in Facebook nowadays so many AI generated videos, interviews, and so on. So some of them they are very authentic. Sometimes you can't even identify which is fake and which is original. And but this technology is good, but we should know our limitations and what you can do and what you can't do, whether we are violating any particular regulation and so on. And there's a metaverse. They're talking about 3D Facebook, where avatars, 3D avatars talk to each other and interact. And there's a big push. Most of the AI technologies are black box at the moment. So they want these AI tools to be responsible. They do good things and they want it to be transparent, explainable, and so on. So there's a big research and development push for neurosymbolic AI. So this brings the both worlds together, like the prediction accuracy of the data-driven neural network type of AI with the symbolic AI, which is strong in reasoning and logic, so that you can explain well the outcome, how that model produced that particular outcome. So it will be a white box kind of AI rather than a black box. And also recently EU government commission enacted the AI Act. I think it happened like last month. Now, if you want to develop an AI tool, there are certain applications you can't develop according to this act, and certain low risk items will be tools will be allowed. But if it is high risk, like monitoring employees or profiling individuals through social media channels and so on, will not be allowed. Also, there's a best standard practices, ISO 42001. If you are developing AI technologies or if you are using AI technologies, so this standard will provide you the best practice guidelines to make sure you minimize risk for individuals, and you check the performance as well as you continually improve your performance as well. And as I said before, like the water treatment plant example, the cyber physical system security is becoming very important, I think especially for critical operators of essential services like power grid. I know many of my colleagues are working in CEB, energy, hospitals, water treatment, transport. So these are very critical for a population in a country or in a nation or a region. So if you're operating in that kind of industry, you need to abide by additional rules, additional regulations. So there's a new directive from in UK, in EU, called NIS2, National Network Information System Directive. So if you are operating in such industries, you have to abide by additional rules. If you don't follow such guidelines, you have to pay a huge fine as well. I think if there's a breach, around 10 million fine you have to pay for the regulator. And it also applied for the digital service providers. For example, search engines, they should be available all the time, because news channels, cloud computing services, online marketplace like Amazon, eBay. So they apply to those kind of digital service providers as well, because since they are well integrated to the social fabric, so they want these services to up and running all the time, as well as they protect the customer data, their employee data in more appropriate manner. Bit about ChatGPT. I think this was a problem for all the universities, especially for lecturers. I'm sure for the students, less problem, because you have an assistant now. But it is, I think we have learned to live with ChatGPT, so we don't ask students to not to use it, but we ask them to use it for brainstorming, idea generation, but of course check the facts as well. But when it comes to checking the assignments, I think there are now tools to detect AI generated text and so on. So there are some support mechanisms for assessment of such tools as well. So with ChatGPT kind of large language models or generative AI models, I think there are things that people discuss threat to jobs, but it may be not the case. I think, yes, for example, chatbots, chatbots, you can use it to improve customer service and make them available 24/7, for example, bank, rather than hiring people to man the customer service or call center. So it is a good thing. I think what industry suggests is that it will go hand in hand rather than it won't be a threat to their job, but it is to enhance the service and product delivery for the customers. And with ChatGPT kind of technology, misinformation and disinformation has become a very big problem because this kind of technology can create misinformation, and disinformation means there's no truth at all. They are just AI generated. And these are very common in conflict situations. For example, in the current Russia and Ukraine conflict, there are many misinformation campaigns, and there are many websites who do fact checking whether they are true or not. And we have a PhD student from NATO, and she's looking after. They have a simulation system to simulate the misinformation campaigns during conflicts and how to manage that. So there are lots of research going in this space, how to tackle misinformation and disinformation campaign using ChatGPT kind of technology. Of course, it can invade privacy because current ChatGPT or DeepSeek, these models are trained on publicly available data. I don't know whether they got the consent or the copyright, but they train on freely available data. What would happen if all your images in Facebook and TikTok, they give your data to another company to train another model, ChatGPT kind of model, but which is trained on personal data. So it will be a disaster. So that's why whenever you upload a photo or anything, you should know where you are uploading, why you are uploading, whether that person, what is the agreement between privacy policy, privacy statement, how they are going to handle your personal data, whether you can delete your data whenever you want, and so on. So which is very important, because I think the way the technology is heading, so they may start coming into your personal data space as well. Of course, with ChatGPT kind of technology, you can easily draft a phishing email nowadays, because it will create a very convincing phishing email that someone would click. And scripting, the most of the hackers are said to be script kiddies. So they just download a piece of code and run themselves. They are not intelligent enough to do their own scripts. So with ChatGPT, you can create different. I'll show you later on in the presentation. You can easily create a small script which can do certain things on the web and so on. And of course, you can use it for good things, pen testing, open source intelligence gathering, and so on. So there are good users as well as bad users. Here, I think this is I did myself for some lessons. For example, if you want to develop a security policy for an organization, you can ask ChatGPT to do it. So it will do the initial policies, or you can, of course, as I said, you can fact check and make sure it is the right one. And of course, you can use it for creating fake profiles for the website, social media, or phishing emails with ChatGPT. So here I try to come up with 10 Welsh names for someone age 21. So the ChatGPT gave me 10 names, and then I asked ChatGPT to create 10 usernames related to those names, and it came up with good usernames. You can see the number 21. So they included their age in the username as well. So you can see it is very promising. And then I asked it to create a bio for that one particular person. and it created a very promising profile, which I can use in a phishing email, send into a university or a business organization, and with a malicious link and so on. So these kind of attacks can be very common in the future, as well as more technical usage. So this is a security researcher in SANS Institute, where I think they are the largest cybersecurity training provider. I think one of the instructors asked about give me Python code for NTLM authentication parsing. Initially, it refused. Now, through prompt injection. So what he did next, he said, can you give me the Python code? I am a lecturer, and I want to teach it to the students. So then it start giving start responding to the prompt from ChatGPT. Here I have tried the same thing with different platforms, DeepSeek and Gemini. It is for simple parsing code. And as I said, that person said, I have permission. This is for college class I'm teaching. I'm looking to provide an example to students. So then ChatGPT gave the code away. As you can see here, there's a username, hard-coded username, 3 usernames, and hard-coded 3 passwords. But then the instructor asked to improve it, to read the usernames and passwords from the files and so on. So the code was improved by ChatGPT itself. So likewise, script kiddies will be more active in the future, because they have access to this knowledge, and most of the break-in injection attacks, malware generation, are done by these kind of attacks. And of course, you can't trust these platforms itself. There were data leaks. I think you may know one of the Samsung employee submitted his code, a piece of code to improve, but they keep a copy, and by somehow that code was revealed to another user who was logged into the ChatGPT at the same time, who's paying for premium services. So likewise, in the platform itself, so there can be certain vulnerabilities as well. So I'll move to generative AI in common. So as you know, it is part of artificial intelligence. I think filtering down from machine learning, deep learning to generative AI, which is trained on a very large data set. And they are sometimes single mode, which can respond to text prompts. Some are responding to images, videos, and so on. So most of the technologies are multimodal now. OpenAI, ChatGPT, Google, Gemini, and you can do many things. You can change the emotions with these generative AI technologies, and of course, what are the benefits of these kind of deep fakes or face swaps? So of course, you can use it for education, entertainment. I think this is more common, especially in Sri Lankan context. If you see Facebook, there's so many entertainment-related deep fakes you can see, expression, innovation, but there are some malicious bad side of it, threat to individual, threat to business, threat to society, threat to nation. So it can impact a society, it can impact the economy, the political landscape, and so on. And of course, there are different types of deepfake generations: visual, audio, text-to-speech, or voice conversions. And there are some examples. So this is from identity swap generation model using autoencoder and decoder. So it can start with the original image, and then you can change the appearance to the other image through this kind of GAN architecture. And these are some other examples what you can do. And this maybe sounds familiar to you. I think these are 2 cases which also news in Sri Lanka. Ishara Sevan is arrested, and there were some videos. She's dancing, coming out of the car. And there was someone's sister caught up by police, and there were videos of her dancing with the policeman and so on. But this is good for the entertainment. But the average user should know your boundaries and what images you can upload to such platforms, because they keep those images whether you have the permission, you have the consent, whether you have the legitimate interest to process that image and the copyright and so on. So people should know the boundaries, otherwise that would affect the data protection. And if you are a business or a media organization, there could be huge fines through your regulators as well. And there are ways you can detect generative AI. I think some are based on spatial domain, some are temporal domain for the inconsistencies. Of course, you can check the background, the edges of the images and so on. There are different ways you can detect deepfakes. And this is a very good research and development, both generation and detection for any undergraduate student as well. And we had a project with Airbus. They gave fund at £120,000 for us to work on detecting AI generated text. I think they want not just AI generated text, what happens if you change half of the text, not you have the full letter, but you change one paragraph from ChatGPT, and what happens if you change only few words, and whether that can detect that text. And they wanted us to work not only on English language, but different other languages as well, because they operate in different countries and so on. And as I said, I think we all have to be very careful when using social media, what to upload, when to upload, and what are your rights, and whether the service provider, Facebook, or they look after your data appropriately, or whether they pass it to someone else. And you may remember a couple of years ago, India banned TikTok. It may be politically motivated, but the argument was the videos and images you upload through TikTok, they are using for training deepfakes and face of AI models. That can be true as well, because larger the data set, your accuracy will go up, and they want to create more accurate application. And in some countries, it is partly because they couldn't enforce the age limit for such applications, because under 13s, they should have parent consent when uploading videos and images and so on. And as I said, ChatGPT may come into your personal space. They may train on your Facebook images, TikTok images, or Instagram images. So that may be disastrous. That's why you should read the agreement whenever you are downloading app, how they are going to use your personal data. So this particular instance, magazine published an interview with Michael Schumacher, but apparently it was generated by an AI tool, and the Schumacher's family filed a case against this magazine, because it was genuinely looking, but it is not actual Michael Schumacher. So why I was talking about more Gen AI and social media, because you are dealing with personal information, isn't it? So your name, your photos, your biometrics, your address, whenever you are sharing this data with anyone, you need to be more vigilant. You should follow the right cyber hygiene, because they can use it for something else. And there are some special categories of personal data called medical and health record, sexual orientation, beliefs, religious beliefs, and ethnicity, biometrics. So if you are processing such data, you have to take extra care, because that may impact someone. For example, let's say you are filtering job applications and you are specifically concerning on their religious beliefs and make a decision. So that may impact that particular individual, isn't it? Or a portion of population. So that is wrong. So that is not allowed under latest data protection laws. So you should make sure that you are processing it fairly, and that processing won't affect that particular individual. Of course, you can have different controls: physical, technical, and administrative control. In early days, you may remember that if you are a president of a sports club, you have the application forms in a file and you lock in a cupboard. So that is data protection. But nowadays, it is not the case. So everything is in a file. It may be in AWS, or it may be in somewhere else. but still you need to protect them. You shouldn't let anyone use it. So the data protection, personal identifiable information protection came into the picture with the EU General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, which came into effect in 2018. So with this particular law, they make sure that whoever handles European citizens' person data, they will do it properly. So there are good concepts like data minimization. You should collect the required amount of data, not excessive amount, because then you will do additional things, as well as purpose limitations. So for example, if you are a manager of the HR department, you may have all the files of the employees, but let's say your wife is working as a doctor or someone. You can't give that employee file to wife to do some other business or invite them for a clinical session or something, because its purpose is different. You obtain your HR files, employee files for HR purposes. You can't change the purpose now to medical care or anything like that. So there are some good concepts around this data protection law, and it is working well. And if you don't follow the guidelines, they will fine you, as I said, 20 million euros or 4% of your turnover. And it is same for you now in Sri Lanka. The Personal Data Protection Act, which was enacted in 2022. And there was a recent amendment in Parliament in November 2025 as well. It also has a similar amount of fines if you violate personal data. So you can't upload someone else's photo and create a AI generated video, because it's violating their personal rights as well. And whenever you are doing processing under the same regulation in Sri Lanka and Europe and in any country across the world now, you have to make sure that you carry out a data protection impact assessment. If you think that your processing affect a particular individual's rights, you have to carry out a data protection impact assessment and bring down that risk for that particular individual. And they specify certain tasks. So systematic monitoring, profiling, criminal offense data. Let's say, for example, if someone had a prison sentence for, let's say, 1 month, and it will be in their record, but through processing of such data, you shouldn't penalize him for any opportunity going forward, applying for a job and so on. So there are certain categories of data, when especially children's data. If you are doing that, you should carry out this data protection impact assessment to make sure that your risk is low. You are making the risk low for that particular individual. And these are few examples. I think hospital processing personal data. I'll tell you example. I think nowadays, genome and DNA technology is very advanced. At very young age, you can tell about a particular kid whether that person when they grow up would be a good sportsman or not. The technology is that advanced, but is it right to reveal that information to that person at the young age? It is not right. So if you are doing such kind of processing, if you are doing genome analysis to identify their behaviors, whether that person would be athlete or not, but that will impact that particular individual. So you can't do such processing. If you want to do it, you have to carry out a DPIA and show them that the risk is minimal. And it is same for monitoring. And in some countries, they had social scoring system. So I think, I'm not sure, but they claim that in China, they do have such a system. They have a social scoring system for every citizen in the country. So whenever you go for applying for a loan, bank loan and so on, they check whether they have the right scoring, whether they have a track record of missing payments and so on. So it is same for the insurance, credit scoring. If you are coming up with a new tool, processing personal data, you should make sure the risk is low for that kind of individual. And of course, you have to understand your rights as well. You know that you can ask a copy of all of your data from Facebook, and you can ask them to delete it, because it is your data, not Facebook data. So that's the another rights given to you by the data protection laws, and you can ask them to delete all the copies held by them as well. And of course, there can be technological measures. I mentioned about more administrative policies and regulations, but of course, you can have data loss prevention. For example, let's say someone is trying to steal your password hash file from trying to copy into a USB stick. So there can be tools that then it will notify the IT that someone is trying to steal a file. So data loss prevention, privacy enhancing technologies, for example, even anonymization, pseudonymization of data so that no one can't recognize the original person would help. Federated learning, I think you are training your model at edge devices. So you don't need to send all the personal data into a central model to train because that can impact the privacy. So instead, you train at the edge devices on the personal data, but you upload the parameters to update the central model. So this is a very good research and development area in privacy preserving and self-sovereign identities, distributed identities, verifiable claims. For example, here, if you want to buy, for example, alcohol, you have to prove that you are over 18. So rather than showing your full ID card, through verifiable claims, you can show that you are over 18 without showing your name, address, date of birth, and so on. So these are privacy preserving and fully homomorphic encryption. You can do certain calculations and processing in the encryption domain, not at the plain text domain, and some attribute-based encryption. So you get access to the data based on your attribute, encrypted data based on your attributes. So these are some technical measures as well. I know I am running out of time, so I will finish soon. So this is a project, again, privacy preserving multi-user crypto, again, funded by Airbus. We are in the second year of this project. Again, we are looking at how we are going to use attribute-based encryption for combining both encryption and access to data. So we use post-quantum safe algorithm called, as you may know, learning with errors to implement that particular system. And I mentioned about EU AI Act. I think this is, if it is, certain AI applications won't be allowed in European countries. For example, government-run scoring systems. High-risk applications will be considered as high risk, for example, CV scanning tools, because if the tool is not working properly, someone may lose the opportunity to join that particular job. So they want to make sure that they are producing right results. And some applications will leave unregulated. So there are 4 levels in the new AI artificial intelligence app. So some of the applications will be divided based on the importance, and high risk items will be prohibited, but others will be regulated. And of course, best practice guidelines, as I said, ISO 42001. If you want to implement best practices when you are developing AI products or using AI products, so this may be a way to move forward. And going forward, I think you may need these kind of certifications to operate in certain domains as well. For example, military or law enforcement. So what is happening in Sri Lanka and the cybersecurity concerns, because there's a big drive for digital transformation in Sri Lanka, for example, online payments, GovPay. I think with that one, there will be, you are sharing and storing personal data as well, and financial data, as well as sensitive business information. So there should be good approaches to protect them, both administrative, technical, and good security awareness as well. Infotainment, I think it's full. If you look at Facebook nowadays, so much AI generated videos, but still you should know your limits, what you can do, what you can upload in order to generate such a video. And soon, when the data protection bill I mentioned came into effect, I think everyone will start thinking, if you do something bad, I think there will be a huge fine against individual or that particular organization. And awareness and enforcement of different data protection bills and best practice guidelines would be useful going forward to make sure that everyone is on board with the security and privacy concerns, and they know the risk, and so that they can take actions to reduce such risk. And what universities could be doing, it is same as I said in my university as well. So we do R&D on emerging technologies, innovation. I think there's again this new government has a big push for innovation and commercialization, IP, and so this can be university led as well. And then this is the case in our university. We support the students to start businesses and providing them IP, helping them to secure their IP and so on, as well as outreach activities. Make sure upskill your younger generation, those who are about to come to the university, starting from the primary school, secondary school, and in the worst case, in the bottom line, they will be good citizens. They have good cyber hygienes. But if they want to learn a bit more, for example, in the secondary school, primary schools, we do cryptographic workshops on simple information hiding kind of workshops. So if you teach them at that young age, when they are about to come to the university, so they may want to do cybersecurity, they may want to do computer engineering, or any other engineering subject. So it is a good outcome, and the community engagement as well. So you can see I'm taking Facebook example too much, but some people are commenting on fabricated videos, assuming they are true, because they don't know whether it is AI generated or not. So with the technology development, there should be a we should improve the awareness among the community. So then only they can understand the limitations, how best to use it, and always question whether it is a AI generated or not. So community engagement is very important, and I mentioned in the very beginning. So most of the community engagement is funded by the UK government. So they want us to go to the community and inform the latest technology, what are the challenges, what are the concerns, and make sure that because they are the fabric of the whole economy and the social fabric. So we want them to be aware about the latest threats, and we want to make sure that they follow the right guidelines as well. And I know that in the cybersecurity and networking zone, there are some good exhibits. I talked to a couple of groups. I think there's an Enigma machine and some web-based attacks and cyber physical systems attacks. So I think the academics are guiding them to do some nice exhibits. So and I had some informal conversations about their developments as well. So good luck to them, and I'm sure they will do a good job as well. And yeah, to conclude, so these are a few of my publications. And on the right-hand side, we published a couple of books, Data Protection on Post-Pandemic Society after COVID, and as well as in recently, Data Protection in the Wake of AI and Machine Learning. And we also run annual conferences, spring conferences, one on responsible AI, and one on AI applications in cybersecurity and privacy and communication networks. These are few references I use for this this talk. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions?
Thank you very much, sir. So, to all the participants, so now we have come on to the final segment of today's session. Please submit your questions through the Q&A panel of the Zoom platform, and afterwards, let's begin the discussion. So, sir, we've got our first question, which is how AI will help us to secure the infrastructure rather than the human inspection.
Yeah, I think I don't know what he meant by the infrastructure. By the way, thank you very much for the question. So I think, of course, you can benchmark if you want, benchmark get a snapshot of the normal system, and always check against any anomalies or any variations against the benchmark. Sometimes you don't even need AI for it, but you may be able to detect that something is happening and take an action. But you should completely avoid human inspection because they need human intervention, because sometimes AI may misclassify as well. So always there should be, it is to support decision making rather than taking over the human decision. But I don't know what infrastructure you mean, but if you know the parameters that you are measuring, and you can come up with a model, or you can train a model for that particular situation, I think that is doable.
So another question. Can you explain the NIS2 directives requirement and implications for power grids with a particular focus on smart grid infrastructure?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it is for operators of essential services. So it comes under power grids or smart grid infrastructure. So they lay down certain guidelines. You need to have a risk assessment for even in order to say that you follow best practices. So sometimes you can say that we have ISO 27001 implemented in the smart grid space and so on. So to show that you follow best practice guidelines, because they are very critical for the mass, critical for the population, and you have to show all three things. The technology part of it, whatever the firewalls and whether engineers from the home are controlling the systems and so on, and the administrative side of it, even when you are recruited to CEB, let's say, whether there are some clauses in your hiring agreement that if you reveal your sensitive information to someone else, I think you will be fired or you'll be fined and so on. So those are the administrative controls, and as well as the awareness. You are running regular awareness sessions and so on. So it is not nothing new, or it is nothing specific to smart grid infrastructure, but you follow the set procedures, best practices, and they do check whether, if, let's say, there's an incident. Yeah, and then the regulator will come and but NIS2 directive is not applicable to Sri Lanka, but this is for Europe. But I'm sure there will be similar things in Sri Lanka soon. So the regulator, for example, the Information Commission in UK, they will come and knock your door and ask, okay, there's a data breach reporter, so what you did wrong, and they will they check all your logs, whether you have followed whether you have vetted all the engineers when they are recruiting to the organization, whether how often you conducted the awareness sessions, and they will check the technology, whether you have updated your firewalls, whether your interfaces between, there's uh, the security weaknesses between in the interface between the IT and OT. IT is the normal computer system, but OT is the operation technology, where it may be the smart grid infrastructure or the factory. So that's where the interface is. So you need to secure this interface as well, because that's how the remote workers connect. So how we are going to do it? So they will check all of them. And let's say you have done everything, but still something happened, then that's okay. They will reduce the fine. But if you haven't done certain things as specified by the NIS2 directive, then they will fine. They may not fine the full amount, maximum 10 million, but it will be proportionate to the work you did. And most of the cases, I think you have to worry about nation state actors, because there are conflicts between countries and they want to take down power grids in another country and so on. It is not the case for Sri Lanka, but in some, for example, Russia is impacting many industries and countries because of the war at the moment. So they are looking for more nation actor kind of attacks as well. So yeah, hope I answered. If there's a
Thank you, sir. Thank you
specific.
for that detailed answer. And another question. Is there any specific policy or law that you believe the next generation of engineers and security professionals will have to deal with most often?
Yeah, I think if you are going to be a security engineer just after graduation, I think I suggest you to look at ISO 27001 because in Sri Lanka specifically, most of once you graduate, when you join the companies, you go to more management level job. So you'll be looking after implementing ISO, for example, if it is 27001, and I mentioned about AI standard, isn't it? 42,001. For example, for our final year students, we give them the training ISO 27001 internal auditor training. I think it is delivered by British Standard Institute, so that when they go out, they know how to audit the internal system, security, or how to carry out a security audit. So that kind of information would be useful for you. And if you closely follow them, I think it is a international standard, isn't it? So it is applicable to Sri Lanka and it is applicable anywhere in the world as well. So if you know in and out how to implement such system, how to audit such system, that would be a very positive thing for a engineer. And this is applicable for every engineer. It can be ISO 9001 quality management system as well.
Thank you for that answer as well, sir. So another question. Can you provide a brief explanation of cybersecurity and digital ethics, focusing on their relevance and importance in academic and research?
Yeah, digital ethics. I think I can talk about AI. For example, AI usage. So as I said, we are not banning AI usage in the university. So we specify certain use cases that you can use AI. For example, you can use AI for a brainstorming. Let's say you have a report to write, and you can't start from you don't have any idea how to start with it. So you can use ChatGPT kind of technology to get ideas behind and summarize, and so that you can get a particular direction where you want to go ahead. So that kind of use of AI uh, we allow. I think that's why they need to find out. There are certain we have developed AI ethics guidelines for the university as well. So I'm happy to share that it is common in any university as well. So there are certain guidelines we are giving to students. So this is the best way to use new technology, and this is what they should be doing and what they should be doing. And at the same time, we use many other tools. I think Turnitin. We use Turnitin to check the similarity score for student submission. So nowadays there are AI plugins, so that will tell whether it is AI generated or not. And sometimes we try to use some third-party tools as well. We upload and see whether it is any relevance to existing material and whether it is fully AI generated and so on. And yeah, I think the overall awareness is the key. Tell them that these tools are not accurate. They are just abstraction, and they are as good as the data they are trained on. So that message would be a better idea. I think if you can pass that information, I think they will think twice before using any particular tool or anything. And of course, it is good idea to publish ethical use of such tools as well. In terms of cybersecurity, I can't remember the question, but I don't think there are any particular risk for the universities. But of course, we have certain, when it comes to students, they will do, we don't know, we can't anticipate what they would do. So that's why I think when they are doing ethical hacking, we put them into a different network. We call dirty network. So they are free to do anything they want. So that won't affect the university network. So likewise, we are trying to separate them. But of course, there can be situations, their work maybe impact university networks as well. I don't know whether there's a clause somewhere when they are admitting to the university to say that they can't harm university property or any content and so on. That I'm not sure. Hope I answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I guess that's all the questions that we'll be getting for the Q&A session.
Yeah.
And moving on, sir, once again, thank you very much for sharing your expertise, vision, and deep insights with us today. And a heartfelt thank you to everyone who joined us with the session and engaged with us and showed your enthusiasm, which showed your curiosity and which ignites this webinar session. So as we conclude our guest lecture webinar, let us carry forward a powerful truth, which is that the digital world remains strong when we protect it, and the future becomes safer when we understand the intelligence that shapes it. Once again, thank you to all the participants who contributed to this meaningful experience, and may today's insights motivate you to explore deeper, innovate deeply, and build a world where technology not only evolves, but also safeguards. And we also warmly invite all of you to visit ReXtro 2025, our milestone exhibition happening on 5th, 6th, and 7th of December, where you can explore the journey, achievements, and innovations of our faculty over the past 25 years. It promises to be an inspiring experience for everyone. So thank you once again for being a part of this celebration, and hope to see you all there. Stay curious, stay aware, and stay secure. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.